You're fooling yourself. We're living in a dictatorship.
It is with great reluctance that I have agreed to this calling.
You know, I think one thing that many people forget about, well, sketches like this, is they're expressing an interesting point. You have basically people living in a collective, a commune, a group run by the workers, run by the, well, not even proletariat, the peasants. And it works perfectly well. Why should, you know, a person respect a king? He comes along with a bunch of coconuts being clapped around. He acts like he's on a horse. And, yeah, why should you respect that guy?
The Lady of the Lake, her arm clad in the purest shimmering samite, held aloft Excalibur from the bosom of the water, signifying by divine providence that I, Arthur, was to carry Excalibur. That is why I'm your king.
Because he carries Excalibur? Because he wears a crowned helmet?
Listen, strange women lying in ponds distributing swords is no basis for a system of government.
Because he has a manservant clapping the coconuts? It seems kind of silly, really, doesn't it? Well, isn't that really the point? Or at least it could be construed as being potentially a valid point. That you basically have people who are, well, if they knew any better, if people knew in times of peasantry, in times of feudalism, that there was a better way of living, a better way of doing things, they almost certainly would do so, wouldn't they?
Supreme executive power derives from a mandate from the masses, not from some farcical aquatic ceremony. Be quiet!
They'd operate in a way which is more suitable for their living, for their standard of living, even maybe not standard of living, but for their own autonomy, as opposed to being dictated to by a lord, who then would, well, give his loyalty to a king. So instead, no one lives in the castle. No one lives in that castle. Yet, you end up with the situation where people still run their lives and operate in a perfectly suitable way without a need for a lord.
But you can't expect to wield supreme executive power just because some watery tart threw a sword at you. Shut up!
I'm told that my overanalyzing is a double-edged sword, but I'm suffering from being this way. Maybe you're very verbally intelligent, so you're pretty much stuck with that. Maybe you've got a bit of mania to you too.
If people were aware of ideas like socialism back at that time, a form of socialism anyway, liberation from the ruling class of lords and kings, then surely they would operate in that fashion if they were able to do so. But many people, of course, would not think in that way because they were not aware of these ideas, the much later philosophy that would come about in the 18th and 19th century in order to allow the idea for the perpetuation of a liberation of the working class, or in this case, the peasantry. So you end up with small steps. And of course you can go to some instances of peasant rebellions and the like, but typically they tend to fall flat of being a full revolution.
I mean, if I went round saying I was an emperor, just because some moistened bint had lobbed a scimitar at me, they'd put me away!
And typically order is reimposed afterwards. But imagine if the knowledge was there, going back far further back, you could end up with a situation where the peasantry would turn into the ruling class and allow some semblance of order. And of course you'd need an educated peasantry, which would make a lot of sense, or a formation of a working class which then becomes the ruling class and then allows the existence of a suitable system which can be operated without the interference from ruling powers and individuals which oppress the average person.
I love democracy.
Help! Help! I'm being repressed! Bloody peasant! Oh, what?
Do you see him repressing me?
I'm told that my overanalyzing is a double-edged sword, but I'm suffering from being this way.
Robert almost comes with a deep psychosis.